You would see arrows. You would see words across the screen. Granddad's 30-06. Granddad's Mauser. It's not there. It's just not there. And if there's no gun, if there's no Granddad's 30-06 Mauser, does this make sense? Could Tyler Robinson have done this with a 30-06 from the Losee Center? So let's dive into this a little bit because, yes, these things have been dissected, but not in the way we're going to talk about it tonight or this afternoon. So I want to take you all the way back. This was released on on September the 12th. September the 12th. I'm going to take you back to September 11th. Charlie Kirk passed away on September 10th. On September 11th, we all woke up and there was no suspect in custody. So the FBI starts releasing little bits of information. The FBI starts trickling stuff out, videos, pictures, descriptions. One of the things they released was a video. I want to show you this video. We've seen it 1,000 times, but this is one of the videos that the FBI released that day. Just to orient you, this is the Losee Center up here. We have 4 rows of cars. We have a guy that when we pick up is basically in full flight already from what they promised us was a prone position, and he is running across the rooftop. He's now running behind this little building up here. He's running off to this corner. And we noticed at the time, and we still talked about it when they showed this at the preliminary hearing, that there's not a lot you can tell about this guy. You can't tell if he's white or black. You can't tell if he's Hispanic or Chinese. You can't tell what color his jeans are. You can't tell what color his shoes are. You can't tell what he's holding in his hand. Whatever he's holding in his hand is flopping around a whole lot, not like a gun, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then they show him running off towards the street. So that's just to reorient you on what we knew before the preliminary hearing. Well, the preliminary hearing comes and goes, and we're expecting really good image. We didn't get it. We actually got worse quality image than what we just saw right there. Now, we got more of it. In other words, we got a little bit more before it happened, even though there was like 5 minutes cut or a minute cut out at the beginning and 5 minutes cut out towards the end. We got, I think, 6 or 7 minutes removed from all the footage that they said they had. But we at least did not get a higher quality output. And I'll show you what the court showed us here before we go into, I'm going to mute this guy. I don't want to hear David Hull. But David Hull is kind of talking his way through it. But you'll see this is actually lower quality footage. You will not see unless I show it to you. I do apologize, ladies. You'll see this is actually lower quality footage than we got the first time. Because now you see him running into position, but he's even smaller than what the FBI showed us the first time. He's even blurrier. He looks more like Bigfoot. He looks less like a human being. Now he could be a blob. He could be absolutely anything. We have no idea what's going on. But he's up there and he lies in the prone position and all this, and we still have all these people moving around, and then he runs off the building. And I just show you that to show you if you were trying to hide the ball, that's what you would do. Because they gave us descriptions. They said, well, we see in the video that he climbs over a railing and assembles a gun. Well, they don't show us that part. And then they show it to us so distant that it's just a blob sort of standing there. We just have to take their word for it that that's what's happening. And we just have to sort of take their word for it that but we're also taking their word for it that Lee Harvey Oswald killed John F. Kennedy. We're taking their word for it that 15 Saudi nationals and 4 other people just on their own, without anybody knowing about it, took down the 2 World Trade Centers, Building 7, the Pentagon, and crashed a plane into Pennsylvania. We're just sort of taking the word for it. Sort of taking the word for it that Sirhan killed RFK. We just sort of get in this habit of taking their word for everything. And that's what they're doing here. They hide the ball. Well, along comes the crowdsourced investigation. Along comes, in my opinion, in an honest society, someone we'd give a Pulitzer Prize to, someone we would honor and call a hero that would be on the front page of every newspaper. A woman who's out there standing up to the power structure, taking all the heat that the power structure can throw at her, and still releasing information on a timeline that shows you exactly who we're dealing with. Because who we're dealing with is people who will lie to you, who will show you blurry, distant, what I think is intentionally downgraded quality video, and then say, trust me, bro, on what it shows. Oh, we see him run into position, mate. We trust me, he's pulling out a firearm and assembling it with a screwdriver. Yeah, well, Officer Hull, I can't see any of that. That's the best we've got, mate. We can't make it any better. You're just going to have to trust us. He's firing a weapon. Well, okay. And that's when we get sources. That's when we get Candace Owens popping in and saying, I was curious how you'd play this preliminary hearing. I was curious precisely how you would handle this. I was curious if you would show the highest quality images you had. And we can see now actually what was going on at the scene. We can actually see a guy throw out what appears to be a mat or something. That is not a firearm he puts out. Let me go back and show that one more time. It's not a firearm. You can see him unfurl something. I think it's a whoopee. I'll show you what that is in just a second. But then he crawls up on it. Well, if you've ever gone shooting, you'd know the last thing you want to do is shoot off of gravel. Not very comfortable, so you'd want something nice and padded to jump in there. You see him lying prone for an extended period of time here, not really doing much. And then you'll see him get up and run away. And I'm going to tell you, the one thing they did not want us to notice is that he does not have a firearm. There's no gun. It's obvious there's no gun. No one can point to a gun. I've been sitting around since Candace first showed this footage on Tuesday, waiting for some Fed slopper to show me some paused video and with an arrow and say, there's your gun, you big dummy. But now he's getting up and watch this. Where's the gun? There's no gun. There's some blanket flopping around, but there's no gun. You cannot see a gun. It's not there. So she goes forward and says, okay, well, that's the actual moment of the shooting. Let's see if he has a gun when he's running into position. Does anybody see a gun? Can anyone point to a firearm? This is a 42-inch long firearm. It should be sticking out of both sides of his body or up over his shoulder or down to the... You can't run with a firearm and not have it be visible. It's impossible. It's not between his legs. You pause it with his legs open. There's no gun there. Where the hell is the gun? Where is the firearm? Where's the weapon? It's not there. It's not there. Footage like this was available. The quality of footage we're looking at now, probably even higher quality if we're being honest, is available. They have it. It's in their possession. The prosecution has it. The government has it. The defense may or may not have it. But there's no gun. No gun at any point that he's running is there a gun. I can keep pausing it and there's no gun. I want to pause it right there. Because you see he's wearing something that sort of jumps out. You see he's wearing something that sort of jumps out over him. And I want to show you what's known as a whoopee. This is a whoopee. You can buy it on the whoopee store. This is how you wear the whoopee. You see that? You put it around you and you take off running. And then when you get to where you're going to go, you have a mat that you can then unfurl or lay on top of. This is not unusual for military trained people to have something like this on them if they're going to have an operation. This is not an unusual thing to have. Now, I want to show you this. Doesn't that look a lot like what he has over him? A whoopee? But I don't want to get lost on that. I can't say definitively that's what it is, but that's what it looks like to me. Some sort of poncho, either a hooded poncho or an unhooded poncho. But what you will not see in any of these images is a firearm. There's just not one. You can pause it as many times as you want, as many different places as you want, and he doesn't have one. And then he gets down, he starts crawling, and there's no firearm there either. Now, I did this in my front yard. I'm sure my neighbors called the police. I'm not sure. But I took some rifles out front, and I got down on my knee, and I held a rifle in one hand, and I got down in this exact position. I'll tell you a couple things about it. I'm not the most unathletic person you've ever met. I'm not the most athletic person, but I'm not the most unathletic person. I'm more athletic than Tyler Robinson. I can promise you that. I don't care what sport he wants to play. I'll beat him. I am 46 years old, and I will pound him. I don't care what sport it is. Now, he might beat me in Magic the Gathering. He might beat me in Rubik's Cube. But I'm going to beat him in anything he wants to do. Any fitness competition, any sport he wants to play, I win. You want to box? You want to wrestle? What do you want to do, big boy? I will take him out. And I can assure you, when I have a firearm in my hand and I run and then I jump down to my knees and I start crawling, it doesn't look that good. Not initially. After doing it a few times, it got better. I said he had a whoopee, not a woody. But there's nothing in his hand. Because you know how I know this? Because when you're holding a long rifle, now the easiest one to do it with was like an AR platform rifle because they're very balanced and they're kind of compact and you can bring the stock in and they're only about that big, and you could sort of crawl along with it. But even then, the gun is out here. I mean, you have to keep your elbow up to pull this off. You can't do it like this. You have no balance. And if you do it like this, the barrel's up here. There's no way to crawl like that without a rifle being seen. It's impossible. It is absolutely impossible to crawl like that without a rifle being seen. I challenge anybody to go do it. Be filmed from behind, crawling like that with no rifle being seen. A 42-inch long rifle. It's not there. It's not there. Now, maybe he had a smaller gun. Maybe he had an AR platform gun in his hand, but that's not what we're told. We're told it was Granddad's 30-06. A 30-06 is 42 inches long. It's 3.5 feet long. It's as tall as a 7-year-old, 8-year-old. No, I will not show the footage of me crawling around. I saw somebody ask for that. It will not. I will not show that. But there's no gun there. There's absolutely no firearm in his hand. Period. End of story. If there was, you would see an endless parade of Fed sloppers pointing to the gun. You would see circles. Unnecessary were red circles, but you would see red circles. You would see arrows. You would see words across the screen. Granddad's 30-06. Granddad's Mauser. It's not there. It's just not there. And if there's no gun, if there's no Granddad's 30-06 Mauser, he was not shot from the Losee Center roof. And if there's some other type of gun, he wasn't shot with a 30-06. Tyler Robinson's no longer a suspect. Send him home.